important disclaimer before we begin. We do not accuse Keurig Dr. Pepper or any of its affiliates or brands from engaging in any unethical activity as it relates to the rumor that was going around this week at the time of this taping surrounding the discontinuation of Dr. Pepper. Welcome to the CDG BizCast. I'm your host, Christian Gonzalez, co-owner of Creativity Design Group, a digital marketing firm in Houston, Texas. Today, we are discussing the danger of social media hoaxes and how both business owners and consumers should address them. This is especially important information to know if these hoaxes start to go viral. My awesome consumer panelist from the United Kingdom, Sarah Russell, joins us again to discuss some hoaxes she has witnessed, and we will both talk about some recent examples to show how impactful huge lies can be when they go viral. Welcome back, Sarah. It's great to have you on the show again.
Hello, Christian. Thanks for having me on the show. Always a pleasure.
Yes, Sarah, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. You always have some great information to share, great insights. It's important to remember that whenever you see something that looks rather fishy online, to do your due diligence and research. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But first, please share with me some examples of hoaxes you've spotted on social media. Did they go viral? Were they just simply out there? Were people just simply talking about them? But did they go viral to the point to where people had questions about what was going on? Please share with me.
Yeah, well, I've noticed because I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. That's mainly the two social media platforms I use. And mainly the last 6 months, 8 months or so, I've been finding these adverts, adverts like posts coming up randomly from like suggested posts. And they have been saying that a certain celebrity has actually died at the age of whatever they are. There's usually one a day. In fact, today there is none. But it's all lies. So I'm not quite sure where they're getting their information from, but people are believing it. When you go into the post, you have a look at the comments, they're like, how did they die, blah, 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 and all this. But when you research it yourself, that person, they are still alive. They're still living and breathing. There's no problem with them. The other day it was Kurt Russell. Well, we know he's still alive because I Googled that. It was Clint Eastwood. We know he's still alive. Okay, he's in his 90s, but he's still going strong. There's many others. So there's all these false things that are coming out and people are believing it. I'm not understanding why they're believing these things and feeling the need to comment on something that's false, and why Facebook are allowing these posts to go ahead and not doing anything to stop them, because then the person then will go in and then they will share that post, and then that will get shared again and again and again on different platforms as well. And it's just all fake news. So I'm not quite sure how they're getting away with it. Surely there's a law that stops them actually giving out false information, because we know ourselves, if we're on Facebook and we post a memory, we have Facebook, they then suddenly want to ban you. So you're sort of like in prison, Facebook prison for like 90 days or so. I've been in Facebook prison many times, so I'm a villain, apparently, just for posting memories. If they don't want me to post my memories, which were allowed 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago, don't have the share button on there. If you don't want me to share something that's clearly a memory and it's just for people's entertainment. That's what annoys me. Facebook are like blind to scammers. They're blind to people who are sending out false information. But people who are honest and just want to share things with their friends are put in Facebook jail, which is pathetic. Grow up, Facebook. Gets on my nerves, that does. Instagram, because they're obviously owned by the same people, Facebook and Instagram, you have the odd adverts on there which again are false, and they're very, very fake, because I think I said once before in one of your episodes about the, say, Mountain Warehouse that sells clothes, and they saying that there's a cheap coat, and when you say it was £160, it's now $10.99 or something like that, and you actually go on the website, the official website, you Google yourself, and you find, when you type in that particular item, you find that item is actually not £10.99. It's like £100. So, and when you report that to Instagram, they do nothing at all. They don't even acknowledge your report. And I've noticed that as well. What's the point of any of it? I just don't get it. Some of the hoaxes I've had a few that have come through on Messenger as well, obviously through Facebook. I've got mine set to private and just friends of friends. So I'm not sure how scammers appear in that. But they're like, if you open this email, there's some bad videos of you we've taken because we reversed the camera and things like this. And we're going to tell everyone unless you pay us money. And so that's a hoax again. That's fake. It's fake again. But it gets people worried. It's all to get people worried. And it just annoys me, all of that, the whole thing.
It sounds like that Facebook and Instagram are just simply punishing the wrong people. There's all these fake posts, this false advertising, fake information about certain people going around, and they're not doing anything about it. Meanwhile, you're just sharing a memory, and all of a sudden they're putting you in Facebook jail. For what? I don't get it. Yeah. What was so bad about the memory you shared? Did they ever explain to you why you ended up in Facebook jail? No?
No. I've appealed to them on many posts. I've appealed against the decision because you can. It comes up when it goes in, it says you can appeal this decision. So you appeal the decision, but you also write in why you're appealing. I said, I'm clearly just appealing to the fact that there is nothing wrong with the post. It might just be, for instance, some horses in a field. Well, that's not inoffensive. And it will say, well, it's a fake post. But it's not a fake post because I've posted it like last year or I've posted it, 2 years ago. It's not a fake post. If it was a fake post, they'd have taken it off 2 years ago or not let me post it if they don't want me to post it. But when you do appeal it, nothing happens. It's like they ignore it. I mean, I think each country has their own Facebook sort of like headquarters because I think the one here in the UK is basically for us here who live in the UK, and you have your own one probably in certain areas of America. I don't know, but I think we have a Facebook one over here, obviously a Facebook headquarters in the UK, because it couldn't all come from one place. But as I say, you appeal and nothing happens. You don't even get a, right, thank you for your report, we'll look into this. You don't get that. People who are giving out fake posts and fake this and fake that, which clearly are getting away with it, and people are sharing it and sharing the fake news.
And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode, this specific problem that you are discussing and how oversharing public information can lead to quite a negative effect on the image of the subject at hand. The main reason why I chose to do this episode is because at the time of us taping, there was a rumor going around online stating that Dr. Pepper was going to be discontinued. Now, before I talk any more about that, how crazy and outlandish does that sound to you just by me telling you what the rumor was, that Dr. Pepper is going to be discontinued?
It's pathetic, Christian. It's like saying Coca-Cola's being discontinued or 7-Up's being discontinued. It's big sales. They're big sale products everywhere, all over the world. Why would you want to discontinue it?
Exactly. In Dr. Pepper's case, Dr. Pepper is the flagship product of Keurig Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper's even in their corporate owner's name, so it wouldn't make sense for them to discontinue a product that's beloved worldwide, has high sales, and is especially popular here in Texas as it was invented here, but it is a hotly popular item, and it just wouldn't make any sense for them to just discontinue it altogether like that. That would put a lot of retailers in a bind for one thing, because almost all of them carry Dr. Pepper. Many restaurants carry Dr. Pepper. They'd be scrambling, or the corporate parent will be offering an alternative for them to replace it with should this have happened. But let me explain how this rumor started. So it all started on TikTok. Random people were posting on TikTok that Dr. Pepper was getting discontinued. So that alone should tell you that it's just a rumor, because it's just random people talking about it. This led to people sharing this information on Reddit, asking questions about whether it was true or not, also creating somewhat of a public outcry there as well. Then Google got wind of this. Their search suggestions started showing, when you click on the empty search box, it shows a list of what searches are trending right now. One of the items, although misspelled, was Dr. Pepper discounted. Now, of course, the search suggestions are AI generated and it did not get the spelling correct. This led to a lot of people searching for discounts on Dr. Pepper when it really meant to say Dr. Pepper discontinued, but it did spread far enough to where Google picked it up. And now this led to a lot of people having questions. They were starting to wonder, is one of the most popular soft drinks in the world about to be discontinued overnight, just like that? Obviously, anybody with common sense would know that this is just a rumor and it wouldn't make any sense for them to discontinue it out of nowhere like that. So how should businesses handle this? Let me tell you, if your business or its products or services or anyone involved with it are the subject of a hot rumor that's going around all over social media, all over the internet, always remember that proper public relations is extremely important in any business. What you need to do is you have to make sure that you address on all social media platforms, as well as on your website or any other channels of communication that you use to address the public, that it's a lie, that it's not true, and that you're just specifically trying to debunk it. If you don't do this, the rumor's just going to continue to float around all over the place, creating more concern among the public and more people just asking endless questions. And this can lead to the rumors becoming even more viral. If you thought it was spreading like a wildfire then, not putting an end to it will just continue to allow it to spread even more and thus creating more of a public outcry or a concern. Even if this leads to heavier sales due to people panic buying, that's not an excuse for you to allow a rumor to go around like crazy. You've got to put an end to the rumor as soon as it starts going viral. Based on what you told me earlier about the celebrity death hoaxes, what did they do to attempt to put out the viral wildfire of lies that was going around about their death?
To me, it seemed like everyone was believing what was part of the post and they was just sharing it because there was over 1 million shares just per story. So each person, they was believing it. So that's 1 million people thinking that that was true. And, and there was no attempt from what I could see that Facebook were paying attention on dropping that post and making sure that it was actually true news and not fake news. So they made no attempt. And even if I was to report it, it would have made no difference. They don't listen to my own issues I have that I message them. So they're not going to take no notice of that.
That's the problem. When the platforms are not doing anything to fight disinformation or misinformation, it's up to the person at the subject of the lie to speak out and debunk the lie themselves. That's the next thing I want to talk to you about here. Once a rumor is out there, it's hot and people are oversharing it, then it's up to whoever's affected by it, whether it be a person or a company, to reassure the audience that any lies that they are getting from third-party sources are indeed not true. Third-party, unverified sources, that is. You don't want to just tell them that all the lies going around are false. You need to show them. Just like with Dr. Pepper, it was rumored that it was being discontinued. However, this was considered to be false. They never did make a public statement saying that it was discontinued, but so far there have been no sources anywhere on the internet confirming this, just people talking on TikTok and Reddit. Random people talking on social media are not verified sources, unless the company themselves made an official announcement that Dr. Pepper is heading for the grave. Guess what? You can assume that it's all just a rumor and it's not true until it's proven otherwise. You do need to show them, for example, if your product is affected, you do need to show them that you're still selling it and announce on social media that you have no plans on discontinuing it. And as for celebrity death hoaxes, it's important to debunk them right away, especially if you are the celebrity at hand. And I've got a few examples of this. So back in the early 2010s, it was rumored that Rowan Atkinson, for those of you who don't know who he is, that's Mr. Bean, died sometime in that time period. However, this was proven completely false when he made a surprise, hilarious appearance at the opening ceremony of the 2012 London Olympics. That proved all the lies to be false right there. That completely debunked what was going around. A lot of people thought he was dead. Sometimes people need a wake-up call, and this is a good example of just that. Another example also which happened around 2012, actress Beverly Archer. Now, she's known for playing Iola Boylan on Mama's Family, an American sitcom that's very funny and very popular here in the US. It was rumored that she died in 2012 in her home in Santa Monica, California. Once this rumor started going viral and people were oversharing it on social media, she put an end to it right away. She made a video, she went public, announcing that she was alive and well, that all of the death rumors were lies, and to top it off, addressed the fact that she never even lived in Santa Monica to begin with. So there was an additional lie attached to the main lie to start with. They said she died in Santa Monica, California, where she never lived. This is just another example of how one lie can lead to another lie. And then, of course, once it goes viral, creates so much buzz that people feel this need to overshare it. That's the next important thing that I need to stress the importance of. Once you see a rumor going around about something like this, don't start sharing it until you do your due diligence. Never assume everything you read on the internet is real. It's perfectly okay to be skeptical. It's beyond okay to be skeptical about things. You don't want to just trust everything you read, everything people tell you. Research. If something doesn't seem right, if a rumor that's going around just seems too good to be true, or just too weird to be true, or the facts are just not lining up, you don't see any verified sources confirming that it's true, you just see people talking about it all over the internet, don't just assume that there's 100% truth to it. Do your research. Once something looks questionable, start doing Google searches. Look on the company's website or the social media profiles of the public figures affected. They'll have the answers to this rumor. Never just assume something is true, because if you do, you're only deceiving yourself. Don't allow yourself to get deceived. Research. Look into all these sources, the company website, social media profiles, news websites, or any press releases made announcing this big news. If the only thing that your research is showing are a bunch of people on social media talking about it and spreading the rumor further, chances are it's not true and it's a lie. And you could just write it off as a lie and not have to think anything else about it. Look how powerful one video on TikTok was with Dr. Pepper. This led to other people on TikTok resharing the Dr. Pepper rumor, and it spread to Reddit, which then spread to Google, offering it as a search suggestion, which led to other people searching this up as well. It only takes one little rumor to go viral, or it only takes one little lie to go viral. And if it's one that's going to create a lot of public outcry and concern, you bet it's going to be spread everywhere. When you are not doing your research and you just start sharing this lie without having any verified truth to it, you become part of the problem. You become part of the overall big problem, because you are aiding in sharing something that has not even been proven to be true. Chances are it's not true, and it only makes yourself look bad when you don't do your own research to find out what the actual truth is. Smart people do their research. Smart people will search like crazy to find out the truth to this rumor that's going around. They're not just going to go on Facebook or any other social media platform and start sharing it without any proof at all that it's true. That just makes you look bad. And in the end, when the rumor is proven to be false, you've made yourself look bad. You've destroyed your credibility because you shared a lie that you didn't even bother to research. The easiest way to destroy your own personal credibility is when you start sharing rumors online that have gone viral, or if you're the one who started it, and then in the end, this rumor proven to be false. Nobody's ever going to trust you again. You've just destroyed your own credibility because you didn't choose to research and verify if there was any truth to that lie.
Yeah, no, you're right. Definitely. I mean, I personally think there's many reasons why someone would want to spread misinformation. People sometimes create deceitful posts. It could have political motivation, or they might want to monetize the attention and bring the fact that they want to pick themselves up. But, you know, or even some of these posts could contain malware or links that are fraudulent, could take all your details. So that's another reason not to share fake news, because it could have malware or dodgy links attached that can put a virus on your computer. So whatever you think you're going to share, you need to make sure that it is actually a true post and not a fake post before you actually do share that particular item. Like you say, definitely due diligence, be vigilant, and do your research before you want to post anything you think is real. So no, exactly, Christian.
I've always felt that the most common problem with social media is that people just feel this need to share stuff without even verifying their sources. That's very common in social media these days. That's why the rumor that Dr. Pepper was being discontinued got so hot this week, because whoever it was that started this decided it was okay to go on TikTok, make videos about it, and then make it sound like it was the absolute truth. And to make matters worse, everybody else who was on TikTok decided that they're just going to go ahead and go along with this rumor, believe it, and start spreading it. You tell me, how is that a smart decision? Why would they start spreading a rumor that they didn't even bother to verify its truthfulness or not? That's the problem. I just don't get that. Based on my own personal research, the only thing I was able to find were just endless people talking about it. It did spread to Reddit. A lot of people were talking about it on Reddit, and this just led to a lot of people having questions. I think everybody with some common sense knows that a product like Dr. Pepper is not going to be discontinued anytime in the near future, right?
Right, yeah. But it could have been like Dr. Pepper might have thought, do you know what? By this fake news saying that we discontinue our product, we're going to sell loads and loads of Dr. Pepper now because they think we're not going to have none tomorrow. So it could have been a sales tactic. Could have been a big sales. That's another side. The other flip in the coin is the other side. It could have been an insider from Dr. Pepper who started it initially to make the sales shoot up. Perhaps Dr. Pepper weren't doing so good as it was last year. And they thought, do you know what? Let's just do a little bit of a fake news on this TikTok and let's see it go around the world and let's see our sales go up. And I'll bet you £100, English pound, that it actually, their sales went up because of that fact. It could have been a sales ploy.
That is what we call in the business world guerrilla marketing. When you're trying to create public awareness, this happens. And I personally do not like this. I'm personally against it, as I feel that it is extremely unethical to lie to the public just to try to make more sales. Dr. Pepper and all of its sister products like 7-Up and A&W Root Beer have all been very popular, and they've shown no signs of being in danger of being discontinued. People buy these products every day, especially if you're in Texas, where Dr. Pepper is considered to be the most popular soft drink you can get. I mean, it was invented here. A lot of times I see a lot of soda machines in restaurants out of it because people get it so much. It's a personal favorite of mine. And I just don't think it's right, though, to tell lies like this just to induce panic buying. Anytime you have to be dishonest to the public is immoral. It doesn't matter what your end goal is. You should never lie to the public. And I have seen this happen with other things before, too. The other example of this that comes to mind happened way back in the year 2000, right here in Houston. This was related to a very popular radio station called 107.5 The Buzz, an alternative rock radio station. It was rumored that they were going to be going off the air. Their parent company, Clear Channel, had just bought out another company called AM/FM, and as a result of this merger, the Justice Department required them to sell off several radio stations because they were over the legal limit of what they could own per market. The FCC says you can only own up to 5 FM radio stations per market, and when this merger went through, they had close to 13 stations, so you could see why they had to sell. And many people thought that this meant that the Buzz was going to be going too. So there was a huge public outcry. People were riding on their cars, "Save the Buzz." People were making phone calls to Clear Channel's corporate office demanding that it stay on the air. And there was just so much public outcry and people were freaking out. Everybody thought that it was going under. What's even worse is that they even announced on the radio that they were going off the air. So you can kind of see why there was so much buzz, no pun intended, going on about this rumor. Here's what ended up happening. Everybody thought the station was signing off. Then Clear Channel announced which radio stations they were selling off so they could become within their legal ownership limits again. They announced that 94.5, which was an oldies radio station at the time, would become the new home of the Buzz. The Buzz was currently on 107.5. What did they plan to do? They were going to switch the stations. The Buzz would move to 94.5. The oldie station would move to 107.5. And then Clear Channel would sell 107.5 to a new owner, keeping the Buzz on 94.5. They decided they were going to go ahead and create a huge rumor that the Buzz was going off the air just so they could promote the station. They, in reality, had no plans to shut down the station or sell the station. They just had it swapped with a less popular format so they could sell that off and keep the buzz on 94.5, which in general was a much stronger signal. The 107.5 signal was weaker, so they decided to put a less popular format, which was the oldies, on 107.5, so the more hotly popular buzz could move to the stronger city grade signal. So you can kind of see what happened there. That's guerrilla marketing at work. They wanted this public outcry because they just wanted to get more promotion for the buzz. People were flooding their phone lines. They were sending them emails. They were writing on the backs of their car windows with shoe polish, "Save the buzz." It is terrible. They allowed this rumor to get so strong that people were freaking out about it. I mean, it's just a radio station, but still, it was a popular radio station and nobody wanted to see it die.
No, it just sounds absolutely awful, though. That's terrible. Really bad. I don't think I've heard anything so bad as that.
They didn't announce the truth till they held a Save the Buzz concert. They held a concert which was purportedly to mark the end of the radio station. The concert was supposed to ring out the station as it signed off, but instead, an executive from Clear Channel went on the stage and announced that instead of shutting down, the buzz would be moving to a much stronger city-grade signal, as they had it swap places with the less popular oldie station that they were getting ready to sell off.
Damn. That's terrible. Sneaky what's-its. Very sneaky. I don't know what to say. That's terrible. I don't know how people got away with it, though.
Well, sadly, that's just how this type of marketing works. They feel that in order to truly generate more sales or to increase more awareness, they need to create some sort of panic. And what makes this different from the Dr. Pepper rumor is that this rumor was started by corporate itself versus the Dr. Pepper rumor was started by a random person on social media who decided they just wanted to be funny and hoped that people found their joke amusing, which I'm pretty sure most people did not. I didn't find it amusing, and I didn't even believe it the moment I read it. The moment I read that Dr. Pepper was being discontinued, I instantly didn't believe it because it sounded way too far-fetched. Have you ever come across something like this to where a rumor was just so crazy that the moment you read about it, you already knew it wasn't true?
I don't know if we've had anything as bad as some of the examples you've given, but I know once we did have something, I think it was about a bank over here that was supposedly going to be closing down. And they said the customers would need to contact the bank as soon as possible, because within 24 hours they'll be shutting. So within 24 hours, you can imagine when the banks opened the doors at 9 o'clock, all the banks had people just lined up, customers lined up, wanting to transfer their money, move the money, take their money out, put it in somewhere else, want to know what's going on. So the phone lines were inundated and everything. It turned out that it was close to the wire, but it turned out that they had some cyber people look into the news because it had got back to one of the chief execs, and they decided, to get this guy in or this team in, and they investigated and found it came from somebody who was a disgruntled worker who used to work for one of the banks, who started the rumor, and then it escalated. And then it got on social media, and then that's what happened. And then it was in the news. Well, as soon as it hit the news, it had to be stopped because though it wasn't true, they wasn't moving, they wasn't changing, they wasn't expanding, they wasn't closing, they wasn't doing anything. They were just normal. So every single customer was lined up. I had to reassure them. And it's hard to reassure a customer that, no, them rumours are not true, because people believe the rumours too much. They'll believe it more than someone standing in front of them. So they had to be convinced. So then they had to put out like a press release, like an emergency press release, to say that no, the banks weren't shutting, and don't worry, your money is safe. We're not going nowhere. We've been around for 70 years or something. We're not going anywhere. We'd always give you more than 24 hours anyway if anything was to happen. But nothing is happening, and we can reassure you of that. And that was probably one of the worst ones I've ever heard of. I wasn't even banking with them, but that's not the point. It must have been awful for those people who actually were, because to think that your money could have actually just gone down the pan. They could have took your money with them and you're not seen it again. So that's how that rumour started, from a disgruntled worker. But that's how quick that escalated.
As I mentioned earlier in the show, proper PR or public relations is crucial to any business. And with this bank, it sounds like that it took a report on the news to get them to realize that there was panic being induced amongst all their customers. Remember, this is for businesses. As soon as you get wind of any rumor that's going around about your company or its products and services or people related to it, it's up to you to put an end to it right away. It's up to you to make sure that you address this immediately and put a stop to it as soon as you hear about it. Don't let it linger around. As soon as you know about it, immediately issue a press release. Announce it on your social media channels. Put it on a banner on your website. Announce it somewhere. Don't allow the rumor to just stick around. It's not going to help you in the long run, especially when you know that it's not a true rumor and you're just letting it float around so you can take advantage of all the panic buying you'll possibly get. That'll just make you look bad later, especially when you decide you want to announce the rumor is not true after you've made a lot of money and after you've made a lot of sales. Because once people get an understanding of what your strategy was for allowing this to go on, they're not going to trust you anymore. They're going to go somewhere else. They're not going to trust a company who just lets lies flourish about them in the name of making a dishonest dollar. They're going to go to a company that truly puts customers first, is not going to allow them to get scared by rumors in order to make extra sales. Customers do not want to be treated that way. When you allow a rumor to go around just so you can make some extra sales, you're showing you care more about your sales numbers than you do about your customers, especially if your customers are panicking right now. Don't allow them to panic. Show them that you care about the issue at hand, you're willing to address it, and that you will end any lies that are going viral immediately. Letting them flourish is just going to make you look bad later, in simplest terms. And now, as we get ready to close out the show, I just simply want to recap what consumers should be doing if they are unsure about a piece of information they read online. Remember, don't just assume everything you read is true. Look for verified sources, check the company's website, check their social media platforms to see if there's any truth to these rumors. You can even directly message them through their social media channels to ask them if it's true, and a customer service rep will be able to address it. They'll be able to tell you, yeah, it's true, or no, that's just a lie. Always do your due diligence, be vigilant, check all your sources. If the only source you see are a bunch of people on social media talking about it and spreading it around, that's not a true verified source. That doesn't mean that what you're reading is actually true just because people are spreading it. And then most importantly, you yourself should not become part of this problem by sharing it without doing your research first. Remember, before you share anything with anything else, make sure that you know for a fact that it's true. Don't share it assuming that it's true, because you'll destroy your credibility later should that piece of information you're sharing be proven to be false. Nobody's going to trust you anymore after that. They're just going to think that you're out there spreading rumors with no truth to them. And that's going to stick with them anytime you try to tell them something. What if you have something that is true? Let's say you spread a piece of information that was proven to be false. Nobody's going to trust you anymore. If you have a piece of information that you want to share later that actually is proven to be true, guess what? All the people that you lied to before are no longer going to trust you because they're just going to assume it's false. They're going to assume every single thing that you share or comes out of your mouth doesn't have an ounce of truth to it. I know I'm this way. When somebody lies to me once, I automatically don't believe anything else they have to tell me, ever. All you have to do is lie once to damage your image, in simplest terms. So, Sarah, do you have any final remarks you'd like to make as we close out?
Yeah, I'll just end with just a short bit of information, really. Don't forget, with the content shared between some individuals who trust each other already, fake evidence is going to be less likely to be examined at them at first glance. You're not going to look into it at all. In reality, you need to make sure that it's not believable. You need to make sure that it's true, because there's an ability out there to manipulate photos and videos, and it's become so advanced and that they alter the content, and it's impossible to actually see which is the real sort of story and which is a deep fake, because that's the new technology, isn't it? Which creates synthetic media, which it sort of replaces a video with someone else's likeness. So they pretend to be someone else and then they deep fake. So they put a thing over the top. That's what half of these fake things are. So that means that if there's a video performing an action or saying a quote, it can be manufactured and it will look really realistic, can trick people easy, and it will make you believe the false news stories, and it can scam you out of your money. And, the way this is going fast, this deep fake stuff, it's going to be near on impossible to stop in the near future. So you guys just need to be vigilant. As Christian said, do your due diligence with whatever you see. Don't believe it until you actually find out the information for yourself. Google it, anything like that. Just research. Don't just take anyone's word that what you're seeing is the real thing. Seeing is not always believing. And that's my final word.
Yes, I agree with you. And I'm glad you also brought up the subject of deep fakes, because we have plans for a future episode later on where we talk about how AI can be used to deceive people and why businesses should not engage in such an unethical practice. The episode is going to cover how businesses often use AI to deceive people with deep fake images, and they try to perfect them to make them look real, often causing people to believe they are real. And, just real quickly before we go, an example of this, and we're going to discuss this example in more detail in that episode, is the Willy Wonka experience that happened in Scotland. Yes, that was a big scam.
Glasgow. Yep, massive scam. 35 quid for just some sheets hanging up and some people jumping out in front of them, and the food was just like little tiny blocks of squares. They have been closed down. They are being investigated. It's all terrible. And how they've actually started in a warehouse in Glasgow. It's disgusting. You're right. It's been shut down already. So, and those people have got all their money back, as far as I know. The ones I think who paid cash, it's going to be a bit more harder to do, but credit cards have all been redone. The credit card companies have been on it. Yeah, it's called a bit of unrest in Scotland, shall we say. Well done for bringing that one up.
Right, and because it was such a fiasco, it's going to be one of the examples that we will be sharing in that episode once we get to producing it, because AI was used in their marketing to really draw people in. They used AI to generate all these images. They shared them on their website, which was full of misspellings, I should add, and on their Facebook page, and people thought it was going to be so whimsical. But yes, it's a good example of why AI should never be used to deceive the customer. Anytime a business has to deceive a customer in any way, or anytime a business has to deceive their audience in any way, is always going to be unethical. And any consumer who feels like they have been lied to should never give that company their business again. So that's also my additional final word on the subject.
They just need to be shut down. For doing that, any business should be shut down. Just like that, no questions asked. You're going to start faking that sort of thing, you should be shut down. That's it.
I agree. There is no room for dishonesty anywhere in business, in any level, at any form. I agree with you. Any business that engages in dishonest practices should be shut down, and of course investigate it beforehand. But yes, thank you, Sarah, for being on my show once again. You had a lot of great information to share.
Thanks for having me on the show, Christian. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. And thank you to all our listeners who tuned in today. Thank you for listening to the CDG BizCast. I hope y'all have a great day. Remember, conduct your business honestly, debunk any rumors you're facing, and always show your customer that you care about them first before profit. Have a great day, everybody.